In the heart of suburban Long Island, on a quiet street in the town of Amityville, New York, sits an unassuming house. To those who pass by, it may look like any other home, quaint, colonial, perhaps even charming. But beneath the facade of white siding and green shutters lies a chilling history that has haunted this place for decades. This seemingly ordinary house, named High Hopes by its owners, became the site of one of the most infamous haunted tales in history. Join me as we delve into the terrifying events that unfolded at the Amityville House. In 1974, the Lutz family moved into a Dutch colonial-style house in Amityville, New York, only to be plagued by a series of disturbing occurrences. Their experiences would go on to inspire a best-selling book and a horror film franchise. But is the Amityville horror based on true events? This is 112 Ocean Avenue, a house that became infamous not just for a brutal crime, but for what followed: dark forces, demonic whispers, and unrelenting terror. Welcome to the true story of the Amityville horror. It all began on November 13th, 1974. Ronald DeFeo Jr., a troubled 23-year-old, calmly walked into a local bar in Amityville and declared, "You gotta help me. I think my mother and father are shot." When authorities arrived at 112 Ocean Avenue, they uncovered a scene of unimaginable horror. 6 members of the DeFeo family had been brutally slain in their bed. The Suffolk County Police identified the dead persons as Ronald DeFeo Sr., 43, his wife Louise, 42, his daughters Dawn, 18, and Allison, 13, and sons Mark, age 12, and John Matthew, aged only 7 years old. All were shot at close range with a .355 caliber rifle. The police said that their bodies were discovered in their home at 112 Ocean Avenue by the oldest son, Ronald Jr., at about 6:15 p.m. He had just returned home from business, the police said. Strangely, there were no signs of a struggle. Each family member had been shot as they slept, undisturbed. Even more baffling, neighbors heard no gunshots. The rifle used had no silencer, yet the night remained eerily silent. "Once I started, I just couldn't stop." The words of Ronald DeFeo Jr., who eventually confessed to the murders, claiming that voices in the house commanded him to kill his family, voices that he believed weren't entirely human. DeFeo was reportedly a known LSD and heroin user with a history of making threats towards his father. Ronald DeFeo went on trial for the murders on October 14, 1975. His attorney argued for an insanity defense, but DeFeo was convicted on 6 counts of second-degree murder after he confessed to using a rifle to shoot and kill his mother and father, his 2 sisters and his 2 brothers, and was sentenced to 6 consecutive sentences of 25 years to life in prison. Ronald DeFeo died in March 2021 at age 69, while serving a life sentence is sentenced at the maximum security Sullivan Correctional Facility in Fallsburg, New York. He had made multiple appeals to the parole board throughout his prison term, but all were denied. Little did the new owners, George and Kathy Lutz, know, but just 1 year after the murders, they would become the subjects of one of the most famous hauntings in American history. In December 1975, the Lutz family moved into 112 Ocean Avenue, hoping to start a new chapter in their lives. But within 28 days, they would flee the house in terror, leaving behind all of their belongings. According to the Lutzes, strange phenomena began almost immediately. George would wake up at exactly 3:15 a.m. each morning, the same time the DeFeo murders had taken place. He became obsessed with the house's furnace, constantly stoking it, as if some unseen force was compelling him to do so. The family experienced unexplainable cold spots, foul odors that seemed to come from nowhere, and walls that oozed a strange green slime. Kathy Lutz claimed she was physically attacked by unseen forces, and on one occasion, she witnessed her face briefly transformed into that of an old hag in the bathroom mirror. Even their children weren't spared, with their personalities changing drastically, and one of them befriending an imaginary and disturbingly malevolent entity. But the most disturbing presence was one that George described as a dark figure, half man, half pig, with glowing red eyes that watched them from the shadows. He called it Jody. After just 28 days, the Lutz family fled their dream home, leaving behind everything they owned. They claimed they couldn't take another night of the torment, the dark presence, and the malevolent entities that seemed to grow stronger by the day. The Lutz's story sparked a media frenzy. Books, interviews, documentaries, and movies followed, each adding new layers of speculation and fear. The tale of the Amityville horror captured the imagination of a generation, but it also raised questions. Was it all true? Or was it an elaborate hoax designed to capitalize on the tragedy that had occurred just a year earlier? So, what do you think? Is the Amityville house truly haunted, or is it just a cleverly crafted myth? I want to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Please like and subscribe and join us as we hear more from the paranormal investigation.